I'm not sure if I got any in the glasses or not, but I had to throw those out just in case. So now I'm using these Highland glasses instead and basically starting over. Pretty disappointing, but I did kill a fly, so yeah. Alright, I'm gonna pour these out, and I'll let them air out for, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes while I go over the tasting expectations. So I'll have one neat glass, and one glass that I will pour drop a splash of water in, like usual. To see if I get any more flavors coming out with that water, which does happen more often than not. It's a pretty cool looking bottle too. I was expecting a sort of a rope, like string, wrapped around the neck of the bottle, because I saw a lot of other YouTubers were reviewing this whiskey and they had a slightly different bottle with that string around it, so I was looking forward to having that. It had a nice rustic looking feel on the bottle, but I guess they changed the design maybe, or I don't know, they just offer a different type of bottle in different areas, I don't know, but it's still pretty cool looking regardless. Anyway, I have my tasting expectations here all laid out already, and yeah, I'll just go through that before getting into the tasting. On the nose, I am expecting a little bit of aggression, apparently, but there will be some sweet notes. There's going to be vanilla and toffee on there, with some dried fruit hiding out in the background. Some really sweet notes, I guess, like icing sugar and kind of like a sponge cake feel with vanilla cream, so definitely heavy on the vanilla, which I guess I would expect with, like, you know, with the rum notes. Corn syrup. I can definitely smell the rum cask and some coconut. And on the palate, it's going to be a little bit more it's going to be a little bit more mild to start. But it will seem to start off with that spicy rum taste. But it's going to end up with the sugary rum taste. It's going to be smooth and a bit sweet, rich and spicy, brown sugar, raisins, and black pepper. The sweetness of the rum balances well with the wood and raisin, seemingly endless waves of butterscotch. So all these notes basically I've compiled from watching some videos and also just reading community reviews on Flavier and Distiller. That's usually what I do. The raisin will come out a little bit more with the splash of water, I'm expecting. And also I might be tasting marzipan, and it's going to be light and sweet. The finish is going to be a creamy vanilla with medium length and a slight burn at the end, but the sweetness of the rum will finish it out. So those are the expectations. There weren't a lot of reviews, and even the YouTube videos were pretty short and to the point with this. Some details about it. It's distilled at Corby Distillery in Ontario, aged 10 years. It is a blended whiskey, and it is 42% ABV, so like 84 proof, not super strong. It's high in alcohol. And the color is a dark amber. Yeah, it's a really nice color on it, actually. I definitely like that amber looking color to it, and you can really see it on the bottle too. Right, before I get into this, if you like this content, please give the video a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed already. Go ahead and comment below, especially because this is my first Canadian whiskey review. Hopefully it's a good one to start with. Let me know what you think about it if you've had it before, and also if you have any recommendations for more whiskeys for me to taste. I am a beginner, so definitely looking to start off with, affordable and good whiskeys for beginners to start with. I've done a few at this point. This is the 16th episode, I guess, of my whiskey tasting, so I've gone through a few at this point, and I'm learning every little bit. make it, a little bit different at least. And kind of experiment a bit. I know some of the intro videos I get a little bit wonky, with like the brushing and stuff, and trying to incorporate random ASMR type elements to it. Try to have some fun with it. But I think the main reason why people come to the videos is for the whiskey tastings. So that's the primary element that I'll stick with anyway. Yeah, so I guess it's been about 5 minutes-ish. Let's get into it with the nose. Yeah, it is definitely a powerful aroma already to start with. Like, I can definitely smell it. It's making a statement. Very sweet. I don't know how much vanilla I'm getting though. Honestly, I think I'm getting a little bit of like mint on here. I'm thinking of like candy canes because I'm definitely getting sweet notes, but not like the caramel or brown sugar notes that I've gotten, especially like in my last video with the bourbon. It's not like that. It's just like straightforward sweetness with some mint, I feel like. And I remember watching in a couple videos too, people say it does have like a medicinal scent to it as well, so maybe it's that I'm getting with like the mint. Yeah, it's like peppermint a little bit. I'm definitely getting some peppermint on here. I'm gonna write that down before I forget what I kinda just said. So yeah, I would say powerful and aggressive peppermint. Not so much from the vanilla or the dried fruits though. I don't know how much spice I'm getting. I would say maybe a little bit of black pepper. I don't know how much of the rye I'm smelling. Maybe I find it a little bit hard for me to pick up the rye notes still. I think I might need to have a few more ryes in my experience belt before I can start really picking up the rye notes and being like, yeah, there's definitely rye spice in this nose and the palate. So I'll say black pepper on the nose for now. Is there anything else that I was expecting? Icing, sugar, and sponge cake. It's a nice way of putting it, but honestly, I would think more of like candy canes if I'm going for some junk food to compare it to. I'm not really getting a syrupy vibe either. Yeah, mint and sweet. That's really the main thing I'm getting on here. Honestly, I probably wouldn't even know if I didn't know in advance that this was aged in a rum cask. I wouldn't know from the nose that there's rum notes in here. Because I was expecting coconut, I would say I can get a faint smell of coconut in here, but that wouldn't come to mind if I was just doing this tasting on my own without any expectations. So I'm not going to write that down, but yeah, if I'm looking for coconut, I would get it. I can see where he was going with that. That's about it. was expecting given the price of the whiskey and the expectations I had compiled. It's got a kick to start. I'm guessing that's the Rye Spice. There's a spice to it. Not a spicy spice like jalapeno spice or something, or black pepper even. It's different. So I think that's the Rye Spice. I guess that's how you would describe it. The Rye Spice starts off, I think it's relatively strong. I don't think that's mild. I think it still makes a statement. The nose made a statement from the beginning, and I think that the palate makes a big statement to me. Yeah, I feel like I'm going in a completely different direction from what others have said. I mean, I guess it's nice that I get to have my own experience. I'm not just going by the book or, going with the flow of what everyone else has said. I mean, it's still sweet, and yeah, I pick up the rum more now. I picked it up on the palate, and now I'm picking it up on the nose. After having the palate, I can tell that there's a very tropical Caribbean vibe to this whiskey. It's sweet. It's sweet going down, man. And it gets creamier. I really get the vanilla on the finish. I feel like it is overwhelmingly creamy vanilla. All those notes that were said about the nose, about like the vanilla icing and the sponge cake and all these really nice ways to think about, sugary junk food stuff. It's really, it's really coming out on the finish for me. The tropical notes, everything's coming towards the end for me. It's coming out of hiding basically. Raisins, like any sweet note, the dried fruits, berries, the brown sugar, I would say, even some cinnamon. Everything starts permeating out. I feel like the initial palate just had a big Rye Spice kick to it, and then from there, everything sort of arises out. All the sweet notes, all the rum notes, it starts trickling out, and it gets a little bit more and more powerful until like a nice creamy velvety finish, I guess. Yeah, that was actually a really pleasant palate. I definitely preferred the palate over the nose, even though the nose wasn't that bad. I just feel like the nose was very straightforward. I was getting sweetness and some mintiness, and that was basically it. But I think that there was a good amount of complexity on the palate there. And all those sweet notes, the fact that it was aged in a rum cask, all of that was like really coming out on the palate and more into the finish. So yeah, like most of the expectations that I had compiled as well, like, it all kind of came to fruition. Yeah, like butterscotch and marzipan. Maybe I wouldn't have just come up with that on my own, but because I'm expecting it and because I'm looking for it, yeah, for sure, I'm getting the butterscotch and the marzipan. But yeah, I don't feel any burn at all. It's pretty smooth and creamy. Alright, let me type this palette out. This includes, but not limited to, raisins, brown sugar, butterscotch, marzipan, what else? Coconut, berries. You know, oddly enough, I didn't really get the wood notes on here either. There were some expectations there. Icing sugar, cake, and creamy vanilla. Alright, I do want to save a little bit of this neat glass for the end too. But I want to look into the finish one more time. Honestly, I don't think I got enough to tell there. Alright, I'll just finish this off, whatever. It finishes sweet. Sweet and creamy, really vanilla-y, very vanilla-like. Finishes sweet, smooth, creamy, with an overwhelming vanilla flavor. Yeah. I guess I'll say it's medium length. It wasn't anything like insane. Not a super powerful finish, but not, what's the word? But not underwhelming either. Okay. Let's see if I get anything on the, okay, I forgot my spoon. The problem with cutting the intro video short is I usually remember to put the spoon down along with everything else. Alright, let's go with like a small splash of water here since it's not super high in alcohol content. I'm expecting a less aggressive nose with this water dilution. No, I was wrong. It's still pretty powerful and aggressive. Yeah, honestly, I feel like I'm getting a little bit more of the pepper on the nose. I was expecting to get more of this sweet stuff, but I think I'm getting more of the rye and the pepper, if anything. A little bit, some of the mint went away, I feel like, that I initially got. It's still there. I would still say, like, it's mint and sweetness, but now there's a little bit of spice mixed in there. It's probably because I had the neat glass, and after the palate and the finish there, like, it was such an overwhelming flavor. On the palate, I feel like now I'm, like, fully expecting it, or it's still lingering in my smell buds, I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much the only difference there, actually. Like, so with the water Still got that rye kick to start. Maybe it mellows out a little bit, but sweet notes still come out a lot. I didn't change the palate that much, honestly. I'm still getting, like, it was just such a great welcome party for all the notes, all those sweet notes that came out on the palate. It's the same thing with the water, like nothing new came out just because there were so many different flavors already on there without the water. I think the mint flavor that I was getting on the nose is carrying through a little bit more now. I think it's mixing in a bit with the sweet notes. It's making it taste pretty good, actually. Yeah, I'll say that. That's the main thing. I got it. Notes get mixed in a bit more with water. I would say that the finish didn't really change much, though. It still finishes with a very sweet and a very smooth and buttery texture. The vanilla still comes out very strong on the finish. But yeah, it's not overwhelming or underwhelming at the very end. It's, it just finishes. It makes a final statement at the end. It starts off with a big statement on the nose. Starts off with another big statement on the palate. And then it very smoothly transitions to the finish, and it makes a slightly smaller farewell or adieu, Yeah, this is a great tasting experience, honestly. I don't know if I would rate Pike Creek as like one of my favorite whiskeys. It's very sweet, and I definitely prefer smoky and peaty whiskeys. But this is a great sipper for me. A lot of the reviews said that this is better off in a cocktail, and it's not much of a sipping whiskey. I would definitely disagree with that. I would say that I could definitely see myself just sitting down for dinner or lunch, maybe breakfast, and having a dram of this on the side and just drinking it neat. I think it pairs well with a lot of stuff, probably. It's definitely on the lighter end of whiskeys, so I probably would not have it with a heavy meal. I'd probably have it with something lighter. Honestly, I can see myself having it and enjoying it a lot with like fish or something. Maybe not like a steak dinner. And that leaves us with assigning a season as well to this. And since it is a lighter whiskey, it's definitely not winter. I feel like I'm going for the spring route for this. Or summer, early fall. I feel like I'm trying to find a little bit of like floral notes to, guarantee this as like a spring type whiskey. But because I'm not getting much floral, vanilla is on here very strong with sweetness and some spice too. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and say it's a summer whiskey. Early summer. I'm glad that this is my first Canadian whiskey to review. I think this sets a pretty good benchmark for me. I'm not sure how similar it's going to be to other Canadian whiskeys because this was aged in a rum cask, and I'm assuming that most Canadian whiskeys are not. Maybe I'm wrong there. So, yeah, it might be completely different experiences with future Canadian whiskey reviews. Who knows? But this is definitely a good one in my book. I'd say in my sort of preference spectrum, I'd put it somewhere between a bourbon or rye and an Isla. Yeah. It's got a few more notes that I prefer over bourbon, even though it's more similar to bourbon and rye compared to the scotches that I prefer drinking. But yeah, this whiskey has some really nice notes to it. It's a very pleasant experience, and I would definitely recommend you give it a try if you have not. Yeah, that palate's so good. Yeah, I'm not sure if more experienced whiskey drinkers find this to be a more basic whiskey. But honestly, even compared to other whiskeys I've reviewed now, like I think that the palate is fairly complex. There's a good amount of notes in here, even if they're all somewhat similar to each other, like the sweetness and the spice. But I feel like I'm picking up a lot of flavors. Yeah, it's good in my book.